Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Volume Podcast. I am your host, Malcolm Ford. My two co hosts aren't here today. We did plan on recording last night, but I had a lot of issues with my internet, so I'm going to do this offline. We also had some fantastic guests set up, but unfortunately, with my internet connection, we had to postpone those guests. And today, I'm going to do this solo. So let's see how it goes. One of the things I do want to talk about today is I'm actually going to change the name of the podcast. It was the Volume Podcast, but I think I'm going to go and name it after our tagline. So the Volume Play Loud Podcast. I think that's going to work really well for us. Give it a try, see how it goes. A couple of other things I'd like to talk about today. Since it is myself, I'll give you a brief overview of background as far as it pertains to volleyball. Another thing we're going to do is talk about our first ever volume season award. These awards are going to go to the players, both on the men's side, the women's side, that helped us along the way this season. Other than that, we're also going to talk about other outstanding news going on in the volleyball world, whether it be grass, whether it be indoor, talk about the VNL and what's going on there, as well as other announcements and surprises we have in store for you today. So again, just to recap, my name is Malcolm Ford. I am the operating manager, also the owner of the Volume, both the men's and the women's team. A little about me and my background as far as volleyball is concerned. I don't really have your traditional volleyball experience. I'm actually rather a novice. I'm not a very good player, but I do enjoy watching, do enjoy participating when I can, and I do have a deep, deep love for the game, which happened over a short amount of time. So again, more about my volleyball experience. My experience started, I didn't play club, I didn't play college or anything like that. I started, the backyard volleyball, playing with family at cookouts, doing all type of reckless things. But it was a fun way to be competitive and get some exercise. My crowning achievement before I got into volleyball seriously was winning back-to-back Macho Man challenges in my junior and senior year of high school. So that was kind of my big break, I would say. So fast forward of how I've actually got involved in volleyball. It was a few years ago, 2020, August of 2020, right in the middle of COVID. The only thing that you could really do were outdoor activities. So seeing volleyball was what I was drawn to. I started playing at this park called Jungie in Davenport, Iowa. Shout out to the Quad City Volleyball Club for allowing me to come play some pickup and sand. My first time playing, I felt it was really fun. Met some fun and interesting people. I kept coming back the next couple of weeks. One week, we ended up going like 6, 7 and up. One night, we played until you could barely see outside. And after that, I said, I really want to do this more competitively, find a more competitive opportunity since I am a very, very competitive person. So I went and did my first Mad Hatter at a bar called the Hawkeye Tap in Davenport as well. So when I did the Mad Hatter, it was a rude awakening. I learned what a lift was. Previously, I didn't know what a lift was. When I was playing Macho Man, we were playing, lifts, carries, obsessively long, very, very long power tips. You can almost just say we just took it straight to the ground from way back here all the way down. So learning those rules were I thought I was a good player until that happened. So I found out I couldn't lift and carry, couldn't double anymore. The first time I heard of a double, I was like, "What do you mean double?" I just went all in motion. Kinda kinda learned that pretty shockingly. I'm sure as a lot of people did, but at a much earlier age than I did. Once I got that experience down, I was a little down, but the competitive side of me was like, no, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna learn this game, and I'm gonna improve. So one of the first people that actually helped me along the way was my sister-in-law, who actually played professionally for a little bit in Germany. So I reached out to her. She gave me a few pointers. Went to a couple of tournaments with me, went to a couple open gyms, as well as show me, how to pass properly, which I still can't do, but it's a lot better than what it was when I first started. So learning from her, going through tournaments, I was like, okay, I can really do this. In May of 2021, I went to my first USAB Adult Nationals. It was a completely different world, very eye opening for me. I got the opportunity to see these high level players play at a high level. And I was like, yes, yes, I'm hungry. This is what I enjoy watching. I enjoy this type of ball. That year, I want to say Dude Wipes won double A. It was a very I think there was on like 4 or 5 teams in double A that year, but it was good to kind of see the atmosphere and see the type of play that is capable of being played. I went to at USAB Nationals. I took a picture with this guy that was introduced to me by a family friend, and didn't really know who he was. I remember the name clearly. And then later on that year, I went to what was it? Later on that year, I did go to the women's Final Four, and my sister-in-law at the time was riding with us on our way down, and she says, "I really want to meet Lloyd Ball," and that name sounds familiar. So I go through my phone and I look back and I find these pictures, and I'm like, "You mean this guy?" And she was like, "Yeah." And so yeah, I took a picture back at USAV Nationals with Lloyd Ball, and she was a little jealous of that, and I was like, "Hey, I'm kind of moving up," but yeah, he didn't know who I was, and I didn't know who he was either. But more on that, how I continued, my love of volleyball again. And July of 2021, I also went to my first Wapaka boat ride in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and that was something else that was very eye opening for me. I dub it the Woodstock of volleyball. To everyone out there that doesn't know what Woodstock is, it was like the go-to music festival back in the day. I don't know if they still do it or not, but this is what I would say the Wapaka boat ride is. It is the Woodstock of volleyball. Going to Wapaka, seeing thousands of teams, seeing hundreds of courts, very very eye opening. I was lucky that my wife had been to one of these before, and she was very knowledgeable. She was like, "Yeah, you want to make sure you bring everything: your chairs, tents, coolers, whatever you want to bring. Make sure you stuff it into a wagon." So we did that. We stuffed it into a wagon and made the trek all the way through the fields and got to experience my first Wapaka boat ride. Got to see out a system really dominate. See these guys that weren't very tall, but they're taller than me because I'm only 5'9". But seeing these guys dominate guys that were 6'6", 6'9", all the way up to 6'9", and just really do it effortlessly, easily with so much high level skill. It got me on fire, and I was like, yeah, I need more of this. I decided to kind of step up and start playing more events. So I started doing these luau based out of the Chicago area. And from doing the luau's, I met some great people who also put me in contact with other people, and I decided to start entering teams into men's sixes competitively. So my first USEV Nationals where I entered in teams was 2023 in Dallas. I actually entered a men's team and a women's team. The men's team finished fifth that year, while our women's team didn't do so well. But I'll take the blame for that one as I added a bunch of, I think there was like 13, 14 women on the team that time. Everyone wanted the same amount of playing time. No one wanted to sit. So we weren't really able to, gather that chemistry since we had 2 or 3 setters on the roster, all these middles coming in and out, liberos switching up all the time just to kind of keep that playing time equal. And from there, I was like, I'm not too excited about that side, but the men's side, they played pretty good, even though the women's side were credential and resume wise way more talented than the men's side. So took a break from the women's and started focusing on men's. And one of the things I wanted to do was, I learned more about this VLA thing, and I seen the VLA were looking for more teams, so I reached out to Vince at the VLA and was like, "Hey, I want to, ask them some questions, learn more about everything that was involved with entering the team with the VLA." Reached out to Tim Faulkner from the Iceman, got some advice from him as well as other people that I knew that owned teams. I think the first time I went to a VLA tournament, it was at one of the cups in 22, 23. And yeah, I think it was in 2022. And I watched uh, Milwaukee die. It was their first year playing. They were a tier two team at the time. And they actually have my wife's favorite player. I mentioned this in a previous episode, Tyler Wills. So Tyler Wills is her favorite player. I is her favorite team. And so I got to experience that high level Iceman. They were looking good. Then there was a team based out of Hawaii, or well, they were based out of Hawaii, but they were technically based out of Las Vegas, called the Ruckus. They ended up winning that event that I went to, and the next year they came back as an official Hawaii team. And at the time, I was a little bit intimidated. I didn't think I could field a team competitive enough, but meeting all these people, I found a great opportunity, and I said, let's go ahead and do this. So in 2024, was last year, I reached out to Vince. I said, hey, we're gonna do it for real this year. We're gonna put the teams in, and I'm gonna come in and compete. We get down to me procrastinating even further, and it's late summer, middle of August. She might have been, yeah, late August. The thing I had so far was a set. So shout out to Justin, my co-host. Only thing I had was Justin, basically, and we were like, "Uh-oh." But we knew all these people, but only person I had for sure that was actually going to play was Justin. So I said, you know what? We better go ahead and set up some tryouts. So we get a tryout scheduled the end of September. We get a few people show up to that tryout. It wasn't the number we were anticipating, but we had enough players that we can say, okay, we can, field a team with this. We also had a few more people who couldn't make the trial due to coaching constraints, but they were going to be on the teams. That was that. Went to our first event. I want to say it was hosted by Chandler North at the Mosh in Franklin, Wisconsin. And we ended up doing fairly well, I would say. We split with Swede, who actually ended up winning the title. We split with them in pool play, and then we ended up knocking out 6-3-0. That was our first triumph over them this past season, was knocking them out. And then we ended up getting knocked out by Swede in the playoffs. But it gave us a lot of excitement, and we decided to just, keep pushing forward. And from there, the rest is history. We added a women's team who were very excited, who did such a phenomenal job, surprised a bunch of people, but didn't really surprise me because I knew the level that they were capable of playing. And the men's team just kept improving throughout the year. And here we are, continuously growing, probably the fastest growing team in the VLA. And I think we're going to be the most exciting, the most loud, the most obnoxious, but also the team that's going to, I think we're going to push the VLA to grow and all the other teams to keep growing. So if you're not keeping up, you better. But that is, my brief volleyball journey. Just want to give everyone a little background on me. Yeah, a couple of things I'm going to move into next. I want to talk about some recognition. I want to recognize a few players that, helped us along the way. These players, since they are winning these awards, I am going to give them gift cards, but I'm going to leave it up to them to see if they actually watch the podcast or not, to reach out to me to claim these gift cards for winning. And if you don't reach out, I'm not reaching out to you. You have to reach out to me personally. And if you don't, I will save a few bucks, which I'm definitely happy to do. So let's start with the fan favorite. We're gonna do one of these awards for the men, one for the women for every category. So the fan favorite for the women, this young lady was always bringing the energy. She would do her little run and high heel click in the air after every good eighth, which we had a lot of those. And she brought a lot of energy. She stepped in, she led, she set. She really did everything that she could do to help us win and go far. And that's little Macy Pierce. Actually, I think she's technically Big Macy. The other one, the bigger one, is little Macy. I think that's what they did, but I don't know. Macy Pierce, congratulations on being the fan favorite. On the men's side, this player was always bringing the energy. We got feedback from fans, opposing coaches, players, even the officials enjoyed when he was out on the sideline bringing pure energy. When we were in the championship game of the promotional cup, we were down 0-2 to the Stallions. And he decided, you know what, I got to break out the baby Jesus. So he brought out these four tiny Jesuses, put them on the bench next to me. And once he put those tiny Jesuses out, we started winning. We were pretty much unstoppable the rest of the way. That really helps. And that's going to go to Eric McCarthy. Eric definitely brought the energy all season. He was a later addition to the roster, but when he was there, he really brought a lot of energy. So, Eric Macy, congratulations on your fan favorite. Next up, we're going to go to the breakout stars. For the women, this breakout star is someone that has a long, extensive resume on herself, but she did such a great job kind of being the GM for the women's team, really putting all the tournaments together, using her connections and really establishing and showing the connections that she does have, as well as dominating on the court. And that's Danielle Penny. For the men's side, this guy came in a little bit late, but when he did come, his energy didn't stop. He became the go-to superstar right off the bat very quickly and never took his foot off the gas. When things weren't going right, he came to me and said, hey, this is what we need to do. I'm not really feeling the energy on the court. We need to really be more aggressive. We need guys communicating. We need us actually doing what we do best. When we have fun, we win. And we ended up winning once we started doing the things he said to do. And that is Ike Papes. Ike, Danielle, congratulations on your awards. The next award we're going to talk about are the Heartbeat Awards. These awards go to the individuals that really helped push us through adversity, push us when things weren't going well, and to really help us succeed. For the women's side, and I apologize if I mispronounced your last name, but it's going to be Haley Default. Haley was there doing whatever needed to be called, whether she was playing right side, outside, middle, DS, serve specialist, whatever it took. Haley was there. She had a smile on her face, and she fought the entire way. Congrats, Haley. Good job this past season. Next up, on the men's side, this player came right at the start of the men. He was there the entire season. Didn't play much to begin with, but when we went to St. Louis and it was his time to step up, he had got the surprise start and started the entire way. And you know what? He took everything in stride and really, really pushed through, as well as getting another start surprisingly for him at the North Cup. Again, our first cup, and he was right there to get that start. And he took everything in stride, and just really, really provide a lot of energy for us. And that's going to be Adam Conklin. Adam and Haley, again, congrats so much for everything that you achieved, and thanks so much for helping us this past season. We look forward to you guys continuously building next season. And now we have the MVP. The MVP is going to go to the most valuable players that we've had on our team throughout the entire season. For the women's side, every single women's event that we had a team at, this young lady's been there. She's really been the probably most dominant force on any team we either played or played on. All of our opponents, they recognize when she was there, we better set up double, triple blocks, don't let anything go easy, and she was still fighting through getting those kills. And that's Macy Hornbrake. For the men's side of things, this guy came in He's been with me for a couple of years now, and he really, really, really fought the entire season. He was pretty much the guy that made this train keep moving throughout the year. When things got bad, he came in, turned things around again, and always brought the fire. The opposing players hate it because he talks a lot, but also he backs it up. And that's going to be Justin Yost. Justin, Macy, congratulations on your MVPs. And we look forward to building much more next season. Macy, I believe we might have you on the podcast, on our next podcast next week, hopefully, and we'll go from there. Again, it was a very, very competitive season. I appreciate all these players for doing whatever they need to be done to ensure that we were competitive. We won a lot with these guys, with all these players, and I'm really appreciative. And as we move on, next year there's going to be a lot more competition growing. We have some new additions coming to the league, and with us getting moved up to subdivisions and divisions, there's been a lot of talk back and forth against potential teams that are going to be in our divisions, and I'm excited. I'm excited because I know we had some call outs the last podcast where everyone heard us and they responded, they reached out, they said, "Hey, good job. We really appreciate you guys turning up the heat. You guys providing this spark, providing this fire. Let's do things respectful. Let's have some light-hearted fun, but also let's do what we need to do. We came to be competitors, so let's be competitors." And one team I didn't call out last week, but I think we're going to be seeing a lot of each other next year, and that's the Southside XP. Southside XP. I really wish we would have played each other a lot more this year, but for you, I'm glad you guys. I'm sure you guys are probably glad that we didn't, because the one time that we did play, we swept you pretty easy. I think we beat you by an average score of like 6 or 7 points. XP. We're looking forward to playing you guys next year. Hopefully we get that opportunity. We're going to be a subdivision rival, so I look forward to the challenge, and hopefully we can get you guys on the podcast and spark that fire a little bit more, stoke those flames. Next up, I want to talk about one of my favorite teams to compete against, and that's the Stallions. The Stallions are a phenomenal team. They were a tier 3 team like us, got promoted, but we actually beat them. So good job. I mean, they beat us earlier, but we took them out in the finals this year. When it counted, when it mattered, we came through. But the reason why I want to talk about the Stallions is we had a clip last week of when we were talking about how many cups we wanted to win next year and what we thought we could win. The Stallions made a nice little comment underneath. And I'm paraphrasing here. I believe the comment says something, "I'll take $400 for shit that won't happen, Alex." For a Jeopardy reference. I have a Jeopardy reference for you guys right here. You ready? And this is for $1,000. This is the daily double. I'll take what team beat down the Stallions, overcame an 0-2 deficit, came back to win, watched you guys have a mental breakdown in the finals. What team was that, Alex? Stallion. Answer. I'm waiting. But again, just a little lighthearted fun with everyone. Again, just respectful, just burning that competitive juices, and we look forward to seeing all these teams again next year. And speaking of next year, there are some teams that are entering their first year. I would say the Texas Twisters. They are owned by the same team that owns the Dallas Dogs, I'd like to say. I believe that's correct. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Reach out in the comments, message me. But I believe they are the same ownership group as the Dallas Dogs. This is going to be their women's team. So if you get the opportunity to play, we are going to be really appreciative, and we look forward to a nice, good competitive rivalry over the next couple of years. And with that, I think we did announce this earlier this week. Volleyball also has a couple new teams. On the women's side, we have Velocity, which is going to be spelt like Volley City. So we have Velocity. On the men's side, we're going to have the Night Stalkers, which is going to be our men's tier 3 team that we're going to use to really grow those players, nourish those players so that they can step up to the show when it's time to compete for the volume brand, they're going to get that opportunity. So velocity players, Night Stalkers players that we're going to have, we we're very excited how things are going to progress. And if you're interested in playing for volume, reach out to me. We are going to have tryouts September 7th at the Wooddale Park District Community Center. So if you are interested, again, feel free to reach out to me directly. Reach out at volume@gmail.com. You can email me your name, position, height, and we look forward to seeing you September 7th for our tryouts. One thing I do want to stress about these tryouts, you may make the team, you may not make it. Again, we are a professional team in a professional league. So if you do make it, congrats, welcome. I don't want you to think that it was, anything easy. It's definitely going to be a hard season, and you are going to have to bring it every set, every point, every match to really help elevate us and help elevate yourself. There's going to be times where you may not play. There might be long stretches. You might not play a particular match, may not play a whole tournament. Well, you have to understand that we are in a competitive environment. We're looking to continuously build. We're looking to continuously improve. It doesn't matter if you're in the MLB, MLS, the NFL, NBA. Every team is always looking to improve. So we're going to bring in free agents. We're going to bring in transfers. They're going to be guys that unfortunately are coaching. They're going to miss all the season, but when it comes time to cup time, they're going to get that time to shine. You'll see that, notice that with every team in this league, that the team that ends the season is going to look different from the team that starts the season. So it's not going to be anything personal. I want you guys to see that up front and see that we are going to be very honest and very transparent with everything and how we handle ourselves. So with that being said, again, come out September 7th. I want to say it's a Sunday. I'm 99.999% sure it is a Sunday. I should say 100% because it is a Sunday, unless I'm blind. Other than that, let's talk about some upcoming events that is happening in the VL. Not just the VLA world, but also the world of volleyball. I believe this weekend, by the time I post this, it may have passed, but the West Coast is hosting an event. I am a little sour, a little sad I wasn't invited, but actually it was a good thing because being in the Midwest, it is grass season, and pretty much all of my players are playing grass, and they don't want to play indoor. So come the fall months, if there is something that needs to have us invited, let us know, and most likely we'll be there as long as you give us a good enough advance. I say about 2.5, 3 months advance. We'll be there bright and early with bells on, ready to dominate, ready to upset some people, ready to talk our smack, ready to annoy, get under the skin, drive those competitive juices, and see some high level volleyball. Again, reach out to us, let us know. Also, let's move on to the VNL. At the time of this recording, the U.S. they're 2-0 this week. They beat China 3-2, beat Canada, I want to say 3-0. They have Poland coming up as well as Italy. Poland, I believe the rumor is Wilfredo is not playing, but again, USA is also playing a lot of younger guys as well. So hopefully USA can knock off Poland, knock off Italy, and keep the momentum going until they reach the VNL playoffs and keep winning. A couple of outdoor events that are coming up this week. I will be at the Big C Boat Ride warm up on July 5th. That's going to be hosted by Chandler North. I'm not playing, but I will be there grabbing some content and some interviews, seeing how things are going. And then the week after that, of course, probably the biggest volleyball event for participation on the planet is the Wapaka Boat Ride. I want to say, I think they have over, I think it's at 3,000 total teams over the course of the 3 days. I'm sure they're going to have about 400 nets. Every men's division is on a wait list. I did want to play, but I decided to wait too long to decide to play. So I'm probably not making it. I think every division is about 40 team wait list minus open, which I believe is only at 12 teams right now. But there are some big team names that were on the wait list. I know out of system when they registered, they were first put on the wait list, but somehow they made it into the actual tournament. But you have the Colorado Cupcake, Lights Out Volleyball, LOV, that's on the wait list. You have Team Crotch, Ryan Almdahl's team on the wait list. Some pretty heavy hitters right now are on the wait list, but I'm sure that they will find a way to get those. They'll find a way to get all those teams in there because there's some good heavy hitters that have made the quarterfinals, semifinals, won this thing that aren't on the wait list right now. But I'm pretty sure all those guys. The women's side, on the open especially, there's still some spots left. Again, make sure you get in next year. Like I tell myself every year, I should probably register a lot earlier, a lot sooner. But hey, that's where we're at. But I'll definitely be there grabbing content and having a good time that day. All right, before we wrap up, again, I want to encourage all the winners. If you are listening, reach out to me. If not, hey, again, I guess I'll save some money. I will take it and use that to maybe buy backpacks for everybody instead. I also want to encourage everyone again, if you're interested in playing, reach out to me, volume@gmail.com to register for the tryout. Again, we're going to have 4 teams. There's going to be a volume men's team, volume women's team, the velocity women's team, as well as the Night Stalkers for the men. Definitely reach out, get some opportunity to come in, get some reps, really shine, really be able to compete competitively and watch us continuously build and grow this thing. Again, this is the wrap up for this week. I really appreciate everyone for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I want you to remember, play loud.